Hey Stampers, welcome to Brandy's Cards. I have a fun card for you using the Flying Home stamp set. The stamp set is out of the Occasions 2018 catalog. Super excited about the Stampin' Up! Occasions catalog. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to have a look. Let me show you just a few things in here. It is just awesome. It went live on January 3rd and it goes through May 31st of 2018. And so here on page 41, you can see this book is well loved. On page 41, we're going to use this stamp set. It's called Flying Home. And I just love the little cards and samples that Stampin' Up! Already had in here. And if you notice down in the right-hand corner, take a look at those flowers. Those are made with the top of the birdhouse flowers right here. So I just thought that was super clever and such a fun, unique card. So there's lots of different, there's something in here for everybody really. There's the card kits. And then I'm going to show you today we're going to use Petal Palette. We're going to use one of the sentiments from here. It is just fantastic. So anyway, this is the Occasions catalog. If you don't already have one, let me know. I'd love to send it to you. And right now we also have our celebration going on. So if you go to brandyscards.com, you can request a catalog. You can also learn about our annual sale called Celebration that runs until March 31st, 2018. So when you make a purchase with Brandy's Cards, and if it's a qualifying purchase, you get to pick some free items out of this celebration catalog. So it's pretty awesome. All right, so here is the card we're going to make today. And I just love it. I thought it was fun because it could be used as a Valentine card too. I just love you. And I just thought it was fun with the little mama bird and her little babies. And if you notice in here, these are our glitter clear epoxy shapes. And in this one, I actually chose some of the glittery ones because they come with glitter or the not glitter. And so I'll show you how I did that. But I colored the birds with the Stampin' Blends as well as the rest of it. So I thought it was a fun card and I think it would be perfect for a Valentine card. So I was excited to show you that. I also used the Soiree. What is it? Let me find the name here exactly. It is on page of the Stampin' Up! Catalog. I know the name, but then it just kind of went away from me. Sweet Soiree is what it's called, a specialty designer series paper. I think it's one of my favorite in here besides Petal Palette. So I'm excited to show you. It is just lovely. Look at the embossed and the silver, the shine. It's so pretty. And just all of it. And it's a specialty paper, so it's a little bit thicker, which is really nice. So we're going to use a couple of these patterns in our cards today. But this cardstock this designer paper is absolutely lovely. All right, so what do you need? Well, I'm going to use, you'll see the green here is from our Sweet Soiree designer series paper. And then, of course, the Flying Home stamp set. We're going to use Stampin' Blends. But we're also going to use a couple of our Stampin' Write markers too. And I'll tell you why here as we get going. So let's go ahead and get started. I've just got Whisper White and a piece of designer series paper. So I'm going to fold my Whisper White cardstock in half. And then I'm going to use a multi-purpose adhesive and I'm going to add my Sweet Soiree designer series paper. Now I like to layer from the bottom up, but you can certainly, start with your image and that sort of thing first, but I tend to layer and get my backgrounds done and then move my way up. All right, so that is finished. Now what we're going to do is we are going to stamp our little bird, our mama bird and her babies on some Whisper White cardstock with Mementos ink. Now, why are we using Mementos ink? We're using Mementos because we're going to use our Stampin' Blends, which are alcohol markers. So these markers blend beautifully, but you need to use them with Mementos ink so they don't smear or smudge, if you will. And so that's why we're using Mementos today. I'm going to stamp a little bit towards the top because I'm going to add my sentiment with my bird underneath. Okay? So now that I've done that, I'm going to just set this one aside. I did stamp it earlier, and I did that because I just wanted to make sure it was good and dry before we decided to start coloring on it with our blends. So I recommend that you do that too. So let's see, it's time to start coloring. So I have here Pool Party, Bermuda Bay, I've got Crumb Cake, I brought the bronze out, and I also have Old Olive. So the first thing I think I'm gonna do is I am gonna start, normally I like to start with the darkest colors, but I think I'm gonna color my bird all first in the light Pool Party first. So as you can see, I'm just kind of coloring the tail and just kind of adding a really light blue to my birds. And that's pretty easy, right? I mean, that's not too crazy. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the light Bermuda Bay, which is actually gonna be dark on here, right? Because we've got Pool Party. So I'm gonna just put a little bit right in here, which is light. It's actually dark. Then I'm gonna go, so this was the light Bermuda Bay, and then I'm gonna go back to my dark Pool Party. And I'm gonna start using that to kind of blend up on my little bird. And just kind of add in a little bit of color to him and blending and shading. And it starts to bring him to life and kind of give him some color, which I really liked. And so you see here, we'll go over to our baby birds and just add a little bit of color to those as well. And now I'm gonna go back and grab my light Pool Party again and just sort of finish shading. I just wanna make sure that it's all shaded nice and that there's no harsh lines or anything like that. Now, if you want to, you can see that it's shaded, you know, that there is some depth to it, but you could go back and take the darker Bermuda Bay if you wanted to, and just add a bit of dark here to her wings. And then you can go back in with the light Bermuda Bay and just sort of work your way up like that. And then of course, with the dark Pool Party, see that? And so then just kind of work your way up. And because we already have that nice light color already in here, it just really shades beautifully. So then I'm going to finish it off with my Pool Party just to make sure we're good and blended. And you know, I do like some of the lighter color in there as well, so I would for sure leave some of that. Now you can also go over here to your little birds and add some dark if you wanted to, but I kind of liked them just the way they were. Now we're going to move on to our nest. So I have two colors. Well, actually I'm going to use three. I have the Crumb Cake Light, and we're going to take Crumb Cake Light and just do a once over on the nest. And just color it one time. Pretty simple. I'm even going to color my branch. Just one quick time over it here. And I would, you know, these little shoots on the edge, definitely these little branches that are sticking out, definitely want to do that. And then I would come over here and color my branch. And just kind of, you know, real carefully. Now there's two ends to these markers. I really like to use the pointed end, but you could use either side. So just keep that in mind. Now I have dark Crumb Cake. And for this, you'll notice that I didn't really want to shade it necessarily. I wanted to use my darker Crumb Cake to kind of highlight is what my goal was. And so I'm not really planning on shading a whole lot. I'm just kind of accenting these lines that are already in the nest. And we can certainly go back over it, of course, and try to shade it a little bit, but I don't want to shade it too much because I do kind of like this look. So I'm just moving my way down my branch. Now here in my branch, I'm just going to add, you know, a little bit of color in there, and I probably will try to shade that so that it kind of it blends a little bit better in the branch. Now I have, this is the bronze, and you know, I don't love the bronze in this, but I do like it a little bit just to add a bit of dimension in another color. So I'm just going to go in here very randomly and add a bit of bronze here and there. And it does kind of add, you know, a little bit of a deeper color. Now I'm going to go back to my light crumb cake and just do a little bit of blending with that. And all I'm trying to do is just blend that bronze in a little bit so it's not so like, wow, I'm bright. You know what I mean? So just trying to tone it down just a little bit and blend it in. So I think we're just about there. Oh my goodness, I just love playing with these markers. Absolutely love it. Now, if you want a little bit more dimension in your nest, just go and take your dark crumb cake again and just go back over the top. You know, we did sort of tone down the color a little bit when we used our light crumb cake and went over the top. So if you want to bring in a little bit more depth, just go right back over it with the dark crumb cake and you'll be able to achieve that look again. So I think we're good to go. Now I want to move on to our old olive. So the first thing I'm going to do is color my leaves with the light first. And then I'm just going to use the darker one to sort of highlight. I'm not really going to do a whole lot of shading. These leaves are pretty small and you know, I don't think it's going to benefit a great deal you know, from shading too much. So I'm honestly just going to color them all once. And then I have my dark old olive and I'm just going to kind of come down the line of this top leaf and maybe the line of this one. And I might just add a little bit of color to some of these here. Definitely the ones that have the lines in them. And then we'll go back over with our light old olive just to kind of blend the lines a little bit. We don't want any harshness in here. Just like that. See how beautifully that it just all goes away and it blends so nice. Oh, I just love these markers. They are fantastic. Okay, so now you could actually use a pumpkin pie Stampin' Blend. But instead, I knew that I was going to use these for my sentiment. So I decided, you know what, instead of bringing out a pumpkin pie Stampin' Blend, I'm just going to go ahead and use my Tangerine Tango, or you could use your pumpkin pie Stampin' Write marker. Now the difference in these markers versus these markers are these are water-based, and so you're going to want to use archival black if you're going to color with these. But today we're just coloring their beaks, so it's not really that big a deal. These you're going to want to use the Mementos ink because these are alcohol-based and these are for shading, okay? So again, the reason we're going to use this one is because I want to color their little beaks. So I'm just going to add a little bit of color to their beak, just like that. Oh, they're just so cute. Okay, so now we're almost done with our card, honestly. I'm going to flip it over, and I've got some Stampin' Dimensionals here, and I'm going to add 4 to the back. Just, you know, in each corner, I'm going to add 4 to the back, and then I'm going to mount it on top of another piece of Whisper White. And the reason I'm doing that is because it kind of mats the card, which I thought was kind of cool. It sort of, not mats the card, but it mats the image. So it just really is it really makes a pretty look. I really like that. And I dug in my scraps and I just found a piece of scrap that I cut off of something. I'm not totally sure. And I have, I Love You. I Just Love You. And that is from the Stampin' Up! Petal Palette stamp set. Super cute. I just love this bird. I'm so excited to make some cards with it. I haven't really had the opportunity to play with this one like I would like yet, but I love the sentiments. I mean, this is just a must-have for all these great sentiments. So this is where I pulled the I Just Love You. And again, this is where our Stampin' Write markers come into play because I want to color on my stamp, and you don't want to do that with the alcohol-based markers, only with your water-based markers, which are your Stampin' Write markers. So here we go. I'm going to color Love in Tangerine Tango, and then I'm going to color I Just and You in Old Olive. And we're going to stamp that on our little scrap piece here. So once I get You colored really good, there we go. We're going to stamp that right here on our little strip. Perfect. Okay, so now this was kind of fun. You know, I always like to just kind of play with different ways to do sentiments and, you know, and to do your, like your sentiment as your banner. So here, this is what I'm trying to show you. What I ended up doing was taking a mini glue dot and putting it right here on the end of my strip, okay? And I just thought this looked kind of neat. I put it right here. I lined it up flush with the bottom of my image, and all I did was just wrap this piece around the back. And I liked it because it left this sort of free and puffy in the middle, and it just looked really neat. I really liked that look. Now before we cut it off and we add the other side, I just want to tie a piece of silver baker's twine. This baker's twine is just so pretty. It's actually in the Occasions catalog. So pretty. Very, very pretty. So I'm just going to tie a quick bow here, and then we'll snip it off, and then we'll add our, we'll secure the other side of our sentiment. Now you could certainly secure it firsthand, you know, right away. But you know, sometimes it's just easier for me to get my twine around it without having to kind of work with it too much. So it just worked out best for me, but you do it however is best for you. So now I'm going to go ahead, and now that I'm at the end of my matte piece, I'm just going to take it and bend it over. And then I would just snip it back here and take a mini glue dot, and you can adhere it to the back side so it's nice and snug. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to add some Stampin Dimensionals, and the Stampin Dimensionals are going to be mounted behind this big white, Whisper White rectangle, and then we're going to add it to the top of your card. And I've got some more. If you guys have stuck with me, I have some more cards to show you as well. Very excited. I have thoroughly enjoyed playing with this stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and put one Stampin' Dimensional right here in the middle too. It's a fairly large rectangle, and I just want to make sure that it doesn't sag in the middle. Okay, so let's mount this. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. I love it. And the little shimmer from the ribbon, and then of course the silver foil in the background. It is so pretty. I just love this card. And you know, one thing, this could be a great Valentine card. Instead of I just love you, maybe instead of the love, you put a heart. You could stamp a heart, cut a heart out, and maybe put a jewel rhinestone in the heart or something along those lines. And that would give you a fun Valentine card. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my space. And then I've got some great cards to show you, some ideas and inspiration. So this was our first one, and let me show you the next one. So this one, life is so much better with you in it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot to show you the glitter. I just noticed it on this one too. So here are the glitter clear epoxy shapes. I know it's probably kind of hard to see on camera, but have a look here. So these leaves that we colored, they're really pretty as they are, but if you take these little epoxy shapes, they're kind of in a teardrop shape. And if you take them and have the, and you kind of have the point pointed down into the leaf and have it kind of coming out, it sort of looks like a teardrop. And it kind of looks wet on the leaf, and it really adds something fun. I just love how that looks. So here, let me add a couple more. And so let's see, where did I put them on this one? Because I love them on this one too. All right, so this one looks like I put it right there. Oh, I love it. And let's do one or two more of these little guys. Now they come either in clear, or you can get them with the glitter. So they do come in the same package. Oh, it just adds so much. It kind of makes it look like it's wet, maybe, if you will. Like there's some water or dew, but it really brings it to life. Now it looks awesome. So yes, you definitely have to use those. So you'll see here, right here in this one, that I used those shapes right here in the flower. And so the flower is actually done with the glitter, and you'll see the glitter leaves. And I put one right there in the center of the birdhouse too. I just thought it added a nice little touch. And next we have Daffodil Delight, and I used Tempting Turquoise as the highlight color. These birds were colored with cherry cobbler, very light cherry cobbler. And I think I used some Calypso Coral. I think I used the Calypso Coral and then maybe just added just a wee bit to their tail. And then you'll see we don't have a Tempting Turquoise marker, so I used, Stampin' Blend. So I used a Stampin' Right marker to color the Tempting Turquoise. So that is a fun card for you as well. Now let's see here, what else do I have? Oh, here's a Melon Mambo. And here in the center I did the flower as well. And I used a Stampin' Right marker to color this. There is a butterfly in the stamp set, and I just stamped it along the edge to kind of give you a little bit of a background. And I feel like this one, the highlighting color is probably more the Melon Mambo. This is just another fun idea for some inspiration for you. Now this one I loved for congratulations for your new home or something along those lines. Congratulations! So this is also a stamp that's in the stamp set with the 3 little houses. And I colored my bird. I added those little glitter epoxy shapes here in the house, and then one down here on the flower. This is also the Sweet Soiree paper. So the designer series paper. So it's also from that collection. I colored my heart. Now the color here in the background, this is Calypso Coral. And you know, we do have a Stampin' Blend that is Calypso Coral. So it was fairly easy to color, lots of fun actually. I added some white twine here, but of course you could certainly use this pretty silver baker's twine as well. So I hope that you've enjoyed my project today. I really like this Flying Home stamp set, and I was very excited to play with it and demonstrate it for you and kind of give you some ideas and some sentiments to pair it with and that sort of thing. I'm going to have this video tutorial on Brandy's cards for you, so make sure you go over there, and the sizes and the dimensions will be there, so you can have a look at that and print that out. And of course, if you're a member of my stamp club, then you'll see all these other projects available for you in our stamp club. So definitely check that out as well. So I sure do appreciate you stopping by. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Catalog, let me know. I can make sure and get one of those out to you right away. So thanks again. Have a blessed day.